All right, next drawing that you're doing, you have that same mug or cup or whatever it is that you're using, something that's a mug or a cup. And this time I want you to pick an object that's larger than the mug to draw with it. So I've gotten rid of my Slinky, set it to the side. I'll bring it back later, but now I'm choosing an object that's a little bit bigger. All right, let me grab, oh, psych, wrong picture. Here we go. My object that's bigger. I turned the box a little bit for some discussion purposes. Okay, so proportion still has to happen when your object's a little bit bigger. We already know a lot about the proportion of the mug. I know that it's just a little bit taller than it is wider. I know that my handle is like a third of the width overall. I could fit a handle and a handle here. So we know a lot about the mug, but now I'm trying to look at how the mug compares to the box of mini Nilla wafers. And again, as much as I would love to have these sit out for you and draw them simultaneously, it's really difficult. I want to draw on this photo. That's why I'm using the photo. And I also ate the mini Nilla wafers last week, so, you know. All right, so we have our mug, and I can do this because I'm working from a printed photo, but this is something that you kind of have to like have happen in your mind, or you could like actually touch the objects if you want to, if that's helpful. Like definitely you could do that. So I have the height of my mug, and I'm kind of taking this measurement. I'm not moving my hands, and I'm sliding it over, and I'm gonna line it up at the bottom of the Nilla wafer box. I can fit 2 of my mugs for the height of the Nilla wafer box. My width of my mug, I can fit like 1.5 widths of my mug for my mini Nilla wafer box if I'm gonna compare my height and my width. So what that means here, let me draw it. I have my height. I can fit 1 of those here, and then I can fit another one here. My width, I'm going to draw zigzaggy. My width of my mug, I could fit about 1. This is my second mug here, second width. So that's like 1.5. It would really end over there, but you know, the box is smaller than that width. So okay, God, I thought I stopped recording. Okay, so to draw this, to make this happen here, I'm gonna draw my mug first because I'm basing the size of the Nilla wafer box on my mug. So I need to draw the mug first so I can measure it in my drawing. So my height is a little bit more than my width here. I have my handle is about 1/3, and I literally, like, when I draw, I literally take my fingers and kind of use them as an increment of measurement. So start to try to do that a little bit. Super messy right now. Like, I'm not concerned with going back and making this the most perfect mug in the world right now, because I still need to figure out, like, the height of my box, and maybe I'll have to adjust the mug a little bit. I will forever and ever say this about still life drawing. Don't spend forever drawing one object because you don't know if it's perfect yet, like the size of it, the proportion of it. So you have to get the size of everything right first, and then you go back and you could draw all the little hearts on the mug, and you can make the handle look really nice and draw little highlights and shade it. It makes no sense in the world to draw this mug super perfectly, spend 45 minutes on it, and then realize, like, oh darn, I drew it too small. Like, that sucks. Like, don't waste your time like that. Okay, so when I start to put my box in here, coincidentally, I mean, you look for this kind of stuff on yours, the line of this box is like matching up with the midline of my cup, actually. So that's kind of nice that I could just like go up a little bit. And we said that our box, or my box, is like 2 mugs tall. So I already have my mug drawn. Mug. Hold on, wait. Oop, I should probably draw where the bottom is. And I know the bottom is about at the bottom of my handle. So I'm kind of looking at it there. So I have my mug, 1, 2. So we're looking at about that vicinity for the height up here, kind of in the middle, and then at the bottom. And then we said the width of our box compared to the width of our mug is about 1.5 widths of the mug. And you could use any part of the mug. I could be using like the handle and I could say, oh, this box is 3 handles wide. I could use the height and say, oh, my box is about 1.25 heights of the mug. Like you could be using any part. It doesn't matter. I'm just picking something here. So I have the width of my mug and I'm going 1 is about here, 2 is about here, so about half. All right. So now I know, generally speaking, that's where my box is happening. But the lines of my box are not, you know, like straight across left and right. So I have some 2-point perspective here. The top of my box is angled down to the left. The bottom is angled up to the left. I fully realize that I just showed you in the last video about making things parallel, which is true, but this is like a different kind of perspective, which we'll talk about next week. But so these are both angling, kind of pointing to the left a little bit. This is like the corner of my box, angling a bit. And then the right side, we don't see a lot of the right side of the box. This one angles down to the right, up to the right, and that's like my corner piece of the box here. So my corner of the box, I'm angling. So that's like my ingredients, label side. This side is the side that says Nilla wafers, blah, 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 blah. You don't have to go into that much detail. Don't waste your time drawing the stuff on the box. But, and now, ta-da, powers of magic. This is like a more finished, nicer looking, you know, situation here. You can see like I still had my midline in there just ever so slightly. Things are still a little bit sketchy, like they're not the most perfect contour line drawing, which is fine. Don't worry about shading them, please. Like, I mean, unless you really want to, unless you're trying to kill some time, but I don't need you to shade them. So that's the second drawing. A mug with an object that's bigger than the mug.